Nope, I'm not going to be blasting some of my fellow JKD colleagues and what they do in their online presences. Instead, I'm going to make another plea for the use of logic and common sense in how you regard the world of Jeet Kune Do. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 118. This is the one about JKD, Brotherhood, collective, unity, etc. And you may have noticed that I did not say that it was about the JKD Brotherhood or the JKD collective, since those are actually websites or Facebook pages that are used by my JKD colleagues. So that's not what it's about. And it's also not going to be about collectivism. All right. So as you're logging in, let's see who's here. Bob Landers is here. Paul Johnson from me. Bob Landers, are you in from collectivism or are you in from Oklahoma? Mark Stewart is here. Okay, there we go, Bob. Tell us Oklahoma. There we go. You always have to remind him. So hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you happen to be catching the final edit video on the YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. I'm working on getting a what do they call it, a customized URL for the YouTube channel. So give me a couple of days and I should have that in place. And of course, if you enjoy the work that I do here and you'd like to, as I do, see the program grow, consider visiting jkdrebel.com and click on the Rebel Gear link and make a purchase of one of our offerings. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share the video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. All right, so like I said, you might have thought when you read the title that I was going to engage in, you know, like some kind of criticism of Paul Bax's JKD Brotherhood or Paul Lewis's JKD collective site. But I'm not that guy who uses his online presence to bash others in the JKD family, because I have no interest in coming on here every week only to criticize some of the faction in the JKD world, because what would be the benefit of that? Instead, what I wanted to talk about was, that's it, concepts behind brotherhood, collectivity, and unity. And those three definitely have political connotations, which is not at all surprising since there's a ton of politics in our society. So there's a ton of politics in our JKD, right? So I should mention to you guys too, we're having, for some reason, my internet, it has been dropping out at least once a day. It's done it already today, so I shouldn't have any problem. But if something happens and the internet drops out, it's this really weird weather that we're having here. It's like the middle of March and it's still like just barely 60 degrees in the mornings here in Miami. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that, right? Okay, so here's the political connection, right? So two of our Democratic senators recently, they both used the word unify in their recent endorsements of the guy that they want to win the what do you call it, the nomination, right, for the upcoming election. So they used the word unify and they talked about unifying the country, right? They're misusing that word, which a lot of people do, because unify means to become one. And you can't do that in this country, right? We are one country. I'll talk about that in just a second, right? But think about it. The original idea, right, in the first place was not unification. It was unity, which is why it's called the United States of America, right? So I'm going to try to do something fancy here, right? So you see, like America, right, JKD is not a melting pot where after being subjected to intense heat, right, you everything coagulates into one mass, right? Okay, so that's my cute melting pot icon right there. Instead, JKD is, like America, is a salad bowl where you have a ton of separate ingredients and even if you drench them, like Bob Landers might do, even if you drench them in salad dressing, right, you can still see the separate ingredients, right? I'm trying to do a slick production here. Bear with me, right? So that's the idea of the salad bowl. Or we could even end up with something like this, right? Watch this one. I found this one. I thought this is pretty cool up to a point. So here is America, the salad bowl, right? Check this. Some of you have probably seen that before, right? So it's pretty cool, but I'm not too happy with it because I looked long and hard and I couldn't find either the Trinidad or the Barbados flag in there, even though the Jamaica flag is very prominent. So anyhow, right? So that's my little political rant right there. So I show you all of this to reiterate, since I've mentioned it many times before, that it's a simple point that we will never have a unified JKD, as in one entity or even one approach, but we can definitely have a united Jeet Kune Do. And here's why I think this way, right? So cast your mind back, think about all the JKD groups that have existed since the early days, right? So in the 1960s, you had these guys, right? I'm trying to be slick again. You had these guys in Seattle. And right now, I mean, literally right now, in Seattle, we have these guys, right? I didn't have a better picture. I tried to mess with that picture, but it didn't work, okay? So that's what we have in Seattle. Now, if you think about it, we have the same thing going on in, let me try to do this one again. Hold on a sec. Whoops. One day I'll have a, whatchamacallit, I'll have a production assistant and he or she will help me with this, right? So here's the other one. This is a shot of the guys from Oakland, right? So that's a 1960s portrayal there. And in the 2000s, we have these guys in Oakland, okay? So if we keep going down, let's see, at one point we had these guys, hang on, let me get it right. I knew this was going to be complex. Okay, at one point we had these guys in the 1960s, right? We had them in Los Angeles. And then that group kind of, well, I messed this up a little bit. I just realized I messed this up a little bit. That group became, to a certain degree, this group, right? And then currently we have in Los Angeles, amongst others, of course, right? We have this group, okay? Now, in addition to all of that, so what I just showed was like the primary representatives of the three early JKD eras. But in addition to that, we also had people from those same lineages who went around the country, around the world probably, right, doing their stuff. So here's an image from a Jerry Poteet seminar, right? Here's an image from a, I think this one is a Richard Bustillo seminar, right? Here is one from a Ted Wong seminar. No, not that one. This one. Here's an image from a Ted Wong seminar, right? Along with Alan Joe, right? And so that's it. So think about those lineages, and you take that all the way down to, you can have something like this seminar, right? Which is not the one that I wanted to show. This is the one I wanted to show. I clicked the wrong button, sorry. Right, that's a Cas Magda event, okay? So what is it, if we think about all those groups for all those decades, right? And you go through the different lineages, and then we look at what people did on the seminar circuit. So those were all images of schools and what have you. But then we think about what people have done on the seminar circuit. What we have is a bunch of people who are obviously united in their pursuit of the Jeet Kune Do philosophy, right? So simply put, that is the key. Just like there's a thing called being an American, just like there's a thing called assimilation, right? Which does not mean the loss of one's original culture. And I can speak about that with authority because I became an American when I moved here. And there was a fair amount of assimilation, but there's nobody who meets me and goes, "Oh, you're definitely originally born here," right? No, because there's a lot of my original culture that I have not lost. So in JKD, one group with one set of ideas can easily associate with another group with a set of different ideas. But the problem sometimes is that some people always want to think in terms of who's right and who's wrong, to paraphrase Kenny Loggins and Michael Jackson. Y'all can look that up, right? But as it should be, as it really should be in politics, you start with what you have in common, and then you go from there. Especially since everybody in politics says that they are there in Washington, D.C. to serve the people. So similarly, all the JKD instructors are there to spread the knowledge of the art and to serve their students, right? Well, all of that is what goes into making a collective, aka unity. So, and as I'll leave you with this, as sad as it might seem because of the nature of the photographs, right? So here we have representation of two lineages, right? And that's a 1970s thing, okay? And then this is a 2000s thing, if I can get it up here. Nope, it's not working. I had another one to show you, which was, I think this was 2000, let me try to work it out. This would have been 2008. This was the 35th anniversary of Bruce Lee's passing, and that's the late Sifu Bustillo addressing the crowd, right? Okay, but what do these two images depict? They depict the simple fact that we are all descended from Bruce Lee, and that in and of itself is key. Okay, so keep in mind that Bruce Lee always advised to keep an open mind and to keep moving forward in the pursuit of the acquisition of knowledge and skill, right? So don't be afraid to embrace somebody else's Jeet Kune Do. I'll tell you that just last week, right? Just last week alone, in order to teach my private lessons and my group classes and what have you, I borrowed ideas from Chris Kent, from Cas Magda, from Burt Richardson, and from Harinder Singh, right? Why? Because now it's not that I don't know a whole lot. Of course I do. But my knowledge is not fixed in time because my knowing is continual. Okay? All right. That's it. Feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions if you want, and I will review everything after posting. Sign up for notifications so when we go live here on Facebook. And as I asked you earlier, subscribe over on the YouTube channels for the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast, for the Jeet Kune Do dialogues. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods, at ilovejeetkunዶ.com. The Quick Skill Series Volume 1 is available. Coming up on Friday, March 13th, Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode with Zane Isaacs of Championship MMA. This is another guy that I know only from online, right? And that should be at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Today is a beige, brown, or pink day. There you go. You love it? I love it. All right. And so I'll see some of you on Friday, and the rest of you I'll see back here next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebels, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now.
It was because it was my environment. I lived in Palolo Valley in Hawaii. At 4th grade, my Japanese friends went to Japanese school to learn the language. Next door to the Japanese school was a judo dojo. And while we were waiting for Jeffrey Tanaka, my buddies and I used to watch the judo classes until the sensei came up, gave us a judo gi, an extra judo gi. He said, you can come in if you wash your feet, because we were barefooted those days in Hawaii. And that's how I started my judo. For a whole year, I was going to judo class, and when my friend Jeffrey finished his Japanese class, we all walked home together. And my family moved to another district in Honolulu. They had a boxing gym about a mile away. And my friends went boxing, and of course, you know, you go with your friends, and I started boxing from 10 till about 13. And my family moved and bought their first home in Waipahu. My cousins lived in the same area, and they were taking Kajukenbo. And that's how I started in Kajukenbo. Until I finished high school, I went to California for my university. There weren't any good schools that I liked. It wasn't like how we trained in Kajukenbo in Hawaii. So I started boxing again until 1964. Ed Parker, who was a friend of mine, said that he was going to have his first international karate tournament, and we went over to the tournament to support him. There I saw Bruce Lee, and my whole life changed. My whole martial arts changed, meeting Bruce Lee. Oh, in Hawaii, because we know he was a Kajukenbo from the Karaho. It was Professor Chow, William Chow, trained with them. And so we used to interchange with Professor Chow's students. And Professor Chow's first student was Adrian Imperato, and who is the founder of Kajukenbo. And so we used to circle with each other, and we knew who each other was. And when I came to California, he had his school in Pasadena. And that's when I was living down South Bay, which is about 30, 45 minutes away from where he's at. But the word got out that he was putting his first tournament, and all the guys from Hawaii, the martial arts, went over to support him. I was one of them. It was one of the first tournaments. It was Nishiyama who did the first karate. It was way back in 61 or 62 at the Olympic Auditorium. This is style karate. And I think it was Kyokan Shinkai karate, I'm not sure. And then Ed Parker had the international, all forms of martial arts. I remember seeing the martial arts, and I thought, you know, we've seen all this. You know, I know what they were going to do, and until Bruce Lee came on stage, and it was something I never seen before. Explosive speed, powerful. He did this chi zao, sensitivity. He did his reaction type drills that I never seen before. And his 1-inch punch. I got sold. I said, holy crap, if we could just learn this 1-inch punch, you don't have to know anything else. It was awesome.